Ishe Shalawam. Welcome, YouTube. Let's give you a little taste of what we get on Facebook. Now, Meta-Physic'S, meta in Hebrew means dead. Stagnated energy, a covering sheriff. The solar power you call sun, it makes up proteins of cells you call skin. In the Revelations book, it prophetically, scientifically, to the actuality, explains that once the stars and the solar doesn't shine, men gonna wish to die because you will no longer have a physical showing. You will be your true self. For all gods will wake up. Genesis chapter 2, God rested, not the eternal one. So when your phone is unplugged from a source, it only has so long before it runs out. Now we have to ascend by the spirit, the Sepharat, the power of ascension, by the father or master, depending on if you called or if you are chosen. Chosen is family, called is grafted in. You say the Gentile replaced a family and became family. Now, through the science is the discovery and the revelation of the inspired word by observation, not calculation, of the imagination of the spirit of the Most High. Who knows the mind of the Lord? The scientists, NASA, ISS, space station. These are the Gentiles that look up for a sign. And in that sign, they found salvation, salvadiat, the throne, mercy seat of the Most High. The wife of the Most High went off in chaos, which is you, before you repented. And the Most High said, it is best to sleep on the rooftop and to be in the same house as a contentious woman. In the old script of the Testament, it said, Israel, I will put you away. He sits outside of the house on a throne watching his children. Everybody still together? This is a story you never heard. Here I have Dan Winter with me. He will explain to you exactly what is being spiritually and already what was breathed, spoken of, and written with no man's hands, but by the book of the seal that only the true one could open. Let that marinate. Melchizedek was holy. The seven Elohim, they weren't able to open the book of the seals, Revelations chapter 5. Well, if you know the story, the angels aren't light. They're melanated. Just like space in the nighttime, they're that color. Well, you know, they're not worthy to touch or even know because they wish to know what we know because they cannot dream. Uh-oh. One more time. Exactly why cannot angels, the actual suits or characteristics of the Most High that he play like Tyler Perry, they don't dream, they don't rest, they don't sleep, they don't meditate. So they don't know what we know written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 1, verse 7. I made all angels wind, telepathical powers, storms, portal holes, travel mechanisms, Merkabahs, portal lights, orbs. But only my many, M-I-N-I, stars, a flame of fire, know my word. So you know, no angel knows, sit here at the right-hand throne, verse number 13, until I make that for the enemies thy footstool. No, only for the children. So that's us right now in the latter day. We shall rise, and you're going to live to see it. Some of your grandparents, great-grandparents, going to live to see it too. They may simultaneously rise with you. I do not mean turning on the mill, two people, one left behind. That is not the resurrected meet the Lord in the air story. That is the genified artificial intelligence of the alienation of abduction that the government going to do to you. Those that don't have no belief. And there's going to be a lot. My daddy can't lie. So with the Draconians and the system that you thought was mythology is now raised from underneath the earth, not just them, but the whole embodiment of how they live, their kingdoms. It was once pushed down, but now it's up. It's the reason of your earthquakes, sinkholes, natural disasters that you really can't control, because they are coming out, but you are going up. Most going to be left behind to face these things. These things are so ugly, your soul will leave your body. You know how you go on a roller coaster, can't help the feel that you have, right? Or let's just take the old scripture testament, for example, the good guys. It said Daniel looked at him and fell dead. This is just an angel. Said he had to touch him, revive him, bring him back to life. That's a lot from a look. So I really do know what I'm talking about. It's just simple for a baby to read. So let's get into this ascension by the frequency of sonoluminance, which your book replies, God said, and he spoke a word, and the word of the Lord came unto whoever, which is lucid dreaming, astral projection, vision, outside of your body. Most today call it remote viewing. Same verbs, different type of frequency, depending on the lingo, the understanding of one's imagination, connected to the relationship of the Most High, or you may say Father, Son, Creator. Let's get it.
Reptilian here on this planet. Now we know that the end of that story was those nuclear generators on the moon are decaying, and that allows the Earth's harmonic series, why Gaia is negentropic, to now become more implosive, retuning 53 to 50 hertz, more perfect phase conjugate implosion. Christians call this the rapture, when the Earth's solar system aura becomes more implosive, the alignment with galactic quadrant, etc., enabling phase conjugation. And so that is why guns will melt during the rapture, because anything metal, of course, has a rock dielectric and will generate heat. The same reason that the metal amplifier and verifier generates heat if it gets too close to the plasma tubes. And so that means as this quote-unquote rapture, which is simply plasma density, sometimes called ascension, approaches, more humans will experience lucid dreaming. And that gets us to the physics of this longitudinal interferometry. And that was the end of video number 3, bringing us to this video number 4 in the series. And the subtitle, the title of this video is The Physics of God. How did the concept of the divine or God or God's presence come to be such a big part of the origin of Earth's religion? What's the physics of that? And the second is, what is then the summary of the extraterrestrial context for the origins of all religions on this planet? So that's the subject of this film, video number 4 in this series. So now actually we have an outline which is in front of you here, and so I'm going to actually have some structure here, we hope. And remember, all of these resources, this outline, all these links are at the master link for this series, which you see down here below my name, fractalfield.com/fusion in the blood. So now, first you tell them you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then you tell them you don't. Oh, yes. Now, we start. So, the physics of God. The urge to know God effectively is to know how plasma domains, which we now know they're all toroidal vortex-based, Pinecone kissing those. And when toroidal plasma domains, like our sun, for example, or ball lightning, when they become implosive, they become negentropic, self-organizing, able to self-refer, non-destructive compression, enabling the origin of biologic negentropy, the title of my book. And that creates self-awareness, the ability to self-re-enter. And so that knowing of that principle.
So the laws of God is called the Torah for the THRU or torus field. The tornado or pyramidal or toroidal turning of the Fibonacci of what you call Fibonacci numbers, or the spiral, the Milky Way, the eye, the tornado, the hurricane, bodacious winds, they all have the same eye. The law of God to now become the laws of nature. So the word of God, breath, power, right, is the order. And the gatekeepers, or they taught you the evil, whatever, is to keep you in line. And so in your book, in the New Testament, what did he say?
Means that we have an urge to
the liberty. It says, when you have the spirit, the Torah, right, because you follow the laws through the spirit. When Yeshua fulfilled the law, he ascended when he set the captives free. Torah. See, they say rapture, meet the Lord in the air in the Old Testament in Hosea chapter 6, verse 2 to 3. At the dawn of day 2, going into day 3, we will meet the Lord in the air where you are now. So, let's keep going.
Bed in this divine, and it starts at a very small level and ends at a very galactic level. For example, the word Yahweh, YHWH'S, is a name for 2 light cones that converge, the original plasma star map of Orion. So the Yahweh is the one who can inhabit the big vortex. So essentially the urge to be God or to know God is the urge to embed and become a bigger and bigger vortex, which is appropriate. That's what evolution is. So the physics of God is actually the physics of embedding in bigger and bigger tornadoes. And that does not belittle in any way the beauty of the spirituality of religion, because inherent in those big vortex is the mind of God. It's true that, the plasma field of the collective domain around this planet, called the collective unconscious communion of saints or song lines, is self-organizing, self-aware, and it is a survival library of memory information. And it is potentially loving in the sense that it
1 Corinthians chapter 2.
Intention. See, so then the idea of self-awareness in having the universe also is good.
What he's saying.
And it is beautiful, and it is divine and spiritual, and it is a beautiful physics, which is ultimately the opposite of the childishness of miracle worship and personality worship, which we need to grow out of quickly if we want to escape these religion wars and wake up from the nightmare that was history. Okay, the second subtitle of this
we say that all the time
is the ET origins of Earth's religions, and that's where we're going now. So remember, the physics of a solar being, the sun is the best example of plasma intelligence locally, and every solar shaman and clairvoyant
pineal gland that you see up on the screen right here,
perception of quarks and occult chemistry, theosophy, everyone who ever clairvoyantly focused on the sun, they saw this Anu shape, 7 spins inside, 5 spins outside, the perfect slip knot, which they also saw identically when they looked clairvoyantly not on the heart of the sun, but the heart of the human, the outer 7 layers of muscle. We have lots of pictures put together. So the heart of the human is the same slip knot, 7 spins outside, 7 layers of this axis of spin of the tetrahedron, these 7 layers of heart muscle, literally, in the Pettigrew dissections, etc. There's 7arrows.net. We have all those pictures. And then when they finally looked at the heart of hydrogen, why, they saw the same thing. And each time they called it the Anu. So An came to mean sun god, and we're coming there because every single religion on this planet is effectively a sun god religion. Certainly the Christian religion, every historian has ever studied Christian. well, there's 100 religions in a row, and they all ended up to be sun god.
You heard that, right? Got them.
If you can't make an implosive centripetal force, you haven't grown up, and the Draco thinks you're just edible like chickens until you grow up. You know what?
You're edible like chickens. Thus you are, thus you return. Thus, serpent, seed, you shall eat all the days of your life. Your soul is a nanoparticle of power.
There's a certain metabolic relationship with the wolf and what they eat. So when we grow up, when we get centripetal, that's the story of this Maury. That's where we're going with it all the time. And specifically, ultimately, we create the centripetal force, which makes star evolution sustainable. And I mean specifically, remember, 11 different times it was measured that when more than 1 million children sang the same song at the same time together, the number of solar flares decreased dramatically. Why? Those children, there were a million children singing the same song, created a centripetal force that inhabited our star, and that's been measured 11 times. It's called peacemaking, centripetal force. So stars need what we can make specifically if we grow up and become stars. So this is a good introduction to why you want to go to Hollywood. I mean, why you want to become a star? Okay. So this is kind of now going to be a retelling of the myth of the birth of the hero, Autobahn, and the flight of the wild gander through the ages. Joseph Campbell. We're taking Joseph Campbell and updating him with physics, the physics of the myth, and the versus Atu. And Lil and his Draco family tells Enki, now, don't you tell those humans that there's a big flood coming, because there's too many of them. We need to kind of get rid of them. They make too much noise copulating at night, so we really got to, I mean, this is the actual story in Samaria. And so he makes Enki promise that he's not going to tell Noah, Ziasudra, that there's a big flood coming. But then Enki says, I will, the story in Samaria is, I will see as if behind the screen of transparency, which means I will go to Noah in a lucid dream. And if he can lucid dream coherently, then he can get the message. And that's the proof that he, Noah, is worth saving. In other words, the lucid dreamer is the hero. And that's the story of this whole Maury we're doing today, is the lucid dreamer, is the myth of the birth of the hero. So the skill to be able to lucid dream. Now, the other part of this story is Credo Mutwa's story. I wanted to just do, we want to thank our many global sponsors, Roland in South Africa, our Biomimicry Center. We did that series of lectures for introducing us to Credo Mutwa, and we went over there not long after and did documentary with Credo Mutwa. And of course, Credo's amazing. The Zulu, they know exactly who Enki was, because Kilimanjaro is named after Enki, and they even know which greys they would eat part of their bodies, and they would have psychedelic experiences. The same reason.
Stop. That's how the Dugan understood the constellation system. Zulu explained what many try to hide. They ate the flesh as if cannibalism wasn't already going on. And by touch, taste, they understood futuristic psychedelic things, not of salvation.
So you can measure that before and after GDP in other ways, whether the vaccine or any medical practice grows your aura, the same way you decide which broccoli to eat based on whether your aura gets bigger or smaller. And in fact, it's a simple physics result of our understanding of physics of consciousness. Is every decision in life is about simply, did it make your aura bigger? And by the way, that's not subjective, GDP, it's measurable. So, hello, we could actually define which vaccines allow you to have a soul and which vaccines destroy your immortal soul. Now that we know what that is, and that's the thread wormhole that goes into longitudinal EMF coherence propagation, the Baffa, etc. And we got some clues from that, from beautiful Credo Mutwa. So this was an example of The myth of the birth of the hero is the one who lucid dream. His granddaughter, who got the beautiful indigenous DNA. And remember where we're going with this when we see later that the Draco Greys and being paid, the Greys who are being paid by the Draco when they did all the abductions after the Greada Treaty. They did 90% indigenous blood. The reason was because they were the lucid dreamers, and that's the DNA.
So, this what you religious people call, and the Lord took me, and the word of the Lord took me by the Spirit and showed me, or the word of the Lord came unto me. See? Conscience, C-O-N, means together. Science means the observation. Together we observe. Look up, Abraham, them are your descendants. From the beginning in the Bereshit, you say Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. I put them there as lights, signs. You're the sign of the zodiac called foundation. You have a season to manifest God to the sea of the suns as a feast or a precious jewel to the Most High. Yep, from the beginning. The cosmos is not God, it's divine operation. You're the characteristics just for the angels really is God, looking through the eyes of his own story. We see the Iveru, we see the Tishvite. Ishe, Shalom.